Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited today. I will be doing a fall inspired look with the Little Ray of Sunshine palette by Colourpop. I love anything fall. I am obsessed with fall. I am obsessed with the colors. If I were a little more mentally unstable than I am, when I'm driving and I see all the pretty fall colors, I would probably end up like crying just because fall is so pretty here in Ohio. Like, oh, I love fall so much. So today's look, I will be doing a fall inspired look with this palette. I just feel like these are perfect fall colors. And I love yellows and oranges and burnt yellows. Oh my goodness, a good burnt yellow shade is one of my favorites. So I'm so excited to be using this palette. I've used this palette a few times now and I love it. It's a pretty good palette overall. So let's just jump right on in and get started. So for the first shade, I will be going into Happy Place right here. So I'm just putting it into my crease. And I love a good yellow palette. Yellow shades are one of my favorites. The Jaclyn Hill Vault, I think it's the Armed and Gorgeous palette that has the yellows and oranges and greens. That is one of my favorite palettes to use for fall because it's just, the yellows and oranges in there are so good. And I've been feeling this way about this Little Ray of Sunshine palette. So for the next shade, I will be going into Sunnies and applying that into my crease as well, just a little under where I applied the first shade. And I love this burnt yellow of this color. It's gorgeous. Everything about this palette, the color story, I absolutely love. It's so pretty. And I can't stop with how much I love this palette. So I'm just blending the two shades out. And then I will be going into this shade down here and start applying that to my outer corner. I will say this palette is a little chalky, but for the price of the palette, the quality is pretty on point, in my opinion. I believe this palette was $14 or $16 from Colourpop. I don't exactly remember, but for $14 or $16, it's not terrible quality. I can put up with it. So, and I love the shades. I love me a good fall palette. If I can work with it, then I'm not too concerned about the quality because I just want fall eyeshadow. So I applied it to my outer corners and I'm just blending it all together now. It's not a very versatile palette in the sense that you can't get very many looks from it. I mean, There's 9 shades, so you are a little limited in what you can do with it. Or maybe I'm just not creative enough, which is also very likely. But personally, I don't care too much because I have a really bad habit. Again, maybe I'm just not that creative. I have a really bad habit of finding a look or two from a palette and sticking to that. And that is something that I know I need to work on a little more. But when it comes to these smaller palettes, you're going to be pretty limited in what looks you can create anyway. Because, I mean, there's 9 shades. You can only do so much with 9 shades. And by the way, I went into this shade here, and I'm applying that to my outer corner now as well on top of the last shade. So I'm just deepening up my outer corner. And then I'm taking my blending brush and I'm going to blend out. Blending is the longest part of any eye look. But it's also one of the most important steps. So, can't skip on it. There is a little bit of fallout underneath, but I just wipe that away. It doesn't really bother me any. And then finally for the outer corner, I will be adding to the very outer corner this darkest color in the palette. And I'm just going to deepen up my very outer corner. And then I am going to blend this out again. I'm having a little bit of patchiness right here. I'm not sure why. So I'm just going to dip my finger back into my first color and just see if I can fill in the patches a little bit. And then I also feel like this eye is definitely a little darker than this eye, so I'm going to add a little more to my outer corner on this eye. Okay, and for my middle of my eyelid, I am going to go back into my first shade, and I'm not really sure why I just used my finger. Not going to lie. But since we're here, and then I'm taking my flat shader brush. It's a mini flat shader brush. It's pretty small. And I will be going into this shade here and applying that to my inner corner. This shade is like a nice pale yellow and I love it. This shade is definitely a little chalky, but It's not really a huge deal to me. And I'm just gently blending it all together so that there's no harsh lines or anything. And then I will zoom in a little more. So this is the finished eyeshadow look. I am going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup off camera. So I will be right back with some final thoughts on this eyeshadow palette. So the rest of my makeup is done, and I just wanted to share a few thoughts on this palette. One, as you know, I love the color story of this palette. I think it's gorgeous. There are a few quality issues, but in my opinion, they're not major. Some of the shades are a little patchy and they are a little chalky, but like I mentioned, it's a $14 palette, $16 palette. It's a pretty affordable palette, and in my experience, Colourpop palettes do tend to be a little hit or miss, and I honestly think, yeah, it might be a little chalky, but other than that, it's not a terrible palette. There was, and I didn't show you guys, but there was a good bit of kickback. But again, I personally don't care about kickback. I care about how it performs on my eyes. So on my eyes, it blends well. It's a little chalky, but it blends well. It didn't get muddy. It didn't blend out. It blends pretty well together, and it's got the bright, vibrant colors. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this palette. Like I said, I have used it a few times, and I enjoy using this palette a lot. I just think it is the perfect fall palette. So I am thoroughly loving this palette. I will keep using it all fall long. I will probably keep using it even into winter and spring and summer because I tend to wear, fall is honestly my favorite season ever, and when fall comes, I go like all out with fall clothes and fall inspired looks. But I tend to wear like fall colors all year round because they're just my favorite colors. So this is probably a palette that I probably will wear. Actually, I know I will wear all year round. And I'm so glad I got this palette. For the price, you can't beat it. The price point matches the quality in my opinion. So there are some Colourpop palettes. Let me see. The Baby Got Peach palette, in my opinion, is pretty good for, I think this palette was a $16 palette, and the shades are nice and creamy. They're very pigmented, and it is the perfect, like, soft glam summer look. And for, I believe this one was $16. For $16, I definitely do think the quality is better than the price point. For this palette, the quality matches the price point. But overall, it is a good palette. I highly recommend it if you like fall colors, if you live for the yellows and the oranges that I do, then I would highly recommend getting this palette. You're definitely going to want to use some kind of primer with it. I think I've used this palette both with the Anastasia Beverly Hills primer and the Urban Decay Potion primer, and it works great both times. So I haven't had any issues. I haven't tried it without a primer, so I don't know how that would work. But overall, it's a great palette that I really enjoy. You do have to work with it just a little bit, especially the shades that do tend to be a little more patchy. But other than that, it's a really great palette, and I love it. Like, I don't have anything else to say about it. Like, it's a really good palette. So if you like fall inspired looks, if you're looking for some palette to get some more fall inspired looks, definitely check out this palette. Check out some others on Colourpop. Colourpop is, I feel like, always releasing new palettes, so they never run out of new things to try. These palettes are so incredibly affordable that you're not wasting a lot of money on it. Like, Colourpop makeup in general is pretty affordable. This lipstick I'm wearing is Colourpop. Colourpop has some pretty good lipsticks. I don't know what my dog's doing right now. Colourpop has some pretty good lipsticks as well. I probably have like half a dozen lipsticks by them. Their liquid lips are some of my favorites. I genuinely like the brand overall, and I would definitely recommend the brand to anybody. It's great affordable makeup. So yeah, I love the look. I love fall. And I definitely recommend this palette. If you like fall inspired looks and you want to see something, comment below what you would like to see. If you have any great palettes that you can get fall inspired looks from, definitely recommend those palettes. I am always looking for great palettes where I can get great fall looks from. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm not very good with ending these videos. So definitely like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video, share this video with someone who's obsessed with fall as I am. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.